What makes a great t-shirt? Is it fashion, fit, comfort? Is it what's printed on the front of the shirt? Whether it's a humorous message, political, or a social statement made to bring awareness to a noble cause? At Urban X TV, we believe that all of those things make a great t-shirt and then some. So we wanted to create a t-shirt line that was a little bolder, a little bit more challenging, one that stepped out of the boundaries. So we decided to introduce to you our not so subtleties. It's one that speaks to the sentiments of what's going on in our environment today. It's one that will spark conversation. So log on to urbanx.nyc to pick up your not so subtleties today, or shop urbanx.com to pick up the latest in urban apparel. We thank you for your support. Peace.
Welcome back to Urban X TV. Back here with the Black Dot.
Yes.
We're going to continue this Nipsey Hussle conversation.
Yes.
So, where did you want to start?
Any questions coming out of the gate for this half? Let's get more into the day of the killing, the witnesses.
Okay, so initially when, like I said in the first part, initially when he got killed, people were convinced that the style of the killing, he got shot a few times in the body, once in the head, that it was a military style killing.
First of all, military don't work like that. You know that.
Yeah, they don't
waste that many shots.
Right.
It's doo-doo, poof.
Right.
So it would be 2 to the chest.
Yeah.
If
One,
anything.
1 to the head.
And 1 to the head is kill shot. Not doo-doo. They don't have that kind of thing.
Right. So
and they're marksmen. So
right.
that theory goes out of the window.
Right. So people were convinced that that's what it was. And then a bunch of videos started surfacing of just people on the street talking about who it was, and they said the guy's name, who they thought it was, and then I heard the guy's name on the news and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, that might have been it.
Mm-hmm.
I heard stories that Nipsey called the guy snitch. He left. He came back, killed him. Then apparently it was more to that. Remember you asked like why was he out there in the first place? And I thought his answer to that. His man just came home.
Right, but we see that wasn't true.
Yeah, right. My initial question to that was, first of all, when they said like a guy just came home from doing 20 years, I'm like
25, 20 years.
20 years. I was like, Nipsey's 33.
Right. So, did the guy go to jail at 13?
Yeah, that's why I was like, damn, he did 20 years, and then like I don't know. That was just that was the questions I was asking. But how about you?
Okay, so again, I always try to get my hands on the first news that breaks, because a lot of times, because that's where the elders taught us, they don't have a synchronized story. But that method would usually work before social media. So I'd turn on channel 4, I'd record channel 4, record channel 7, and watch channel 5. Like when the 9/11 shit broke, I had 3 channels rocking, and their stories just didn't match up. You know what I'm saying? One dude was like, yeah, it was people down here, the FBI been down here all week long. Like, what the fuck were they doing? And then they just scraped that. And then it was another story, and the dude said, nah, I got into the lobby, and the lobby was blown out already. They scraped that story, so they had to get all of their stories lined up. And then you saw the BBC story where the lady was reporting that Building 7 had fell, but Building 7 was literally behind her. You see what I'm saying? It hadn't fell yet.
Right.
So, we understood that, but social media works a little bit different, as we talked about, because a lot of us have invested our time and energy. Guys, I gotta get off this social media shit. Take a break. I know, because this shit can consume you.
Yeah.
This shit really can consume you, and you have to take long breaks to just gather yourself and plant yourself back into what appears to be reality, because they're trying their best to shift us collectively into an automated world where our soul and spirit and melanin doesn't have the power that it has here, right? Because your melanin, how do you interface your melanin in a digital realm that's artificial? And I can just write your melanin as obsolete. Your melanin means shit here in this realm, right? When you know that your melanin is connected to everything that is. It's your superpower, right? So we have to be careful when we start and spending as much time as we do in those realms. So, Cowboy, let's talk Cowboy for a minute.
Oh, yeah, his business partner, right?
His business partner, something ain't right.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know what it is, but it's just coincidence that 3 seconds before your man get popped, you happen to be walking away. If I told that to any niggas on the street, I was with so-and-so, and 3 seconds after I walked away, niggas ran up on him and clapped him. The first thing niggas gonna say, well,
What happened to you?
What a coincidence. Yeah. What a coinky dink. You see what I'm saying? So the synchronicity there. Who got him out of the house? Talking about Nipsey Hussle. At first we thought it was that story. That story is debunked now because your man got on Vlad. And we're going to talk about him in a minute because none of these stories are making any sense.
Yeah.
Right? And when the stories don't make sense, all I'm using is common sense. Never lose your common sensory of things. You know what I mean? All I'm using is common sense here. He said, we know who it is. Dude, was a hater. Yeah. Shook his hand, went and got a burger, then came back around the corner. I had my food. What the fuck food you had? You know what I mean? Where'd you get your food from? And, right before that happened, I dipped into the store and it happened. And then we see all these grainy tapes that are so grainy that they have to be doctored. TMZ, the first one to release these tapes, right? I told y'all before, TMZ is CIA. I'm willing to give my life on it. They everywhere and nowhere at the same time. They started that Kanye shit.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And all they had to do was release the whole tape of Kanye, and none of us would have been at war with each other because he clarified his statement. Right? But what did they do? They pieced off a piece and hit you with that, and we ran with that, and Sufis turned into goofies again, and you know what I'm saying, and so forth and so on, and people blocked me, and fuck that, and this and that. And, it became a whole big thing. Yeah. And when they released, they could have just released the whole tape. All right? So, TMZ, because, listen, you have to be in control of the media to create these fantastic stories. The media has to be involved. Social media has to be involved. Crisis actors have to be involved if we're talking a hoax or if we're talking just something ain't right. Because, I'm on the internet, you hear both sides of the story, and I'm asking you to use common sense. And you tell me, does any of this shit sound correct? First of all, who's the lead detective in this case?
I don't know.
Nobody knows, right? No. When somebody dies on a scene, isn't there a yellow mark and that area is taped off for, could be a week.
Yeah, forensics.
3-4 days, forensics have to come through. These niggas is out there partying on the fucking death scene. I've never seen nothing like it, ever. In the middle of a crime scene.
A high profile.
A high profile crime scene. All right? You're not going to piss down my back and tell me it's raining. You are not. Something weird is going on here. All right? So, how did he get out of the house? Who let him out of the house? Right? The way the government move, if it is a government operation or whatever, you have to isolate the target. Right. They isolated King. Right? Yeah. The friendlies weren't wearing ties. Right? The friendlies, Jesse Jackson and all of them, they didn't have on ties. Motherfuckers who could get hit got on ties. And they isolated them, put them upstairs, called them out on the balcony, had the conversation. You heard the Reverend say, I stepped back so they can get the shot.
Yeah.
Right?
Dick Gregory showed that.
Yeah, Dick Gregory, Dick Gregory showed that.
Yeah.
right? So we understand that there's an isolation period. Malcolm was isolated because he left the Nation of Islam.
Right.
So his power base was the Nation of Islam, highly trained killers who could protect him anywhere he went. But when he peeled off, he had a small crew with him, right? They firebombing his house and all of that, but he was isolated from, because most of the followers stayed with Elijah Muhammad, right? So he was isolated, so it was just really a matter of time. Staying in hotels, this and that, and they got to the Audubon ballroom, and it popped off, right? He didn't want nobody searched, or whatever the case may be, so this was not something very intricate. It was, right? So a lot of times they isolate you, right? So how did they isolate him? How did they get him out of the house? So let's debunk the shit about the inmate coming home, because we know now that wasn't true.
Well, so I said let's go through the stories we've heard.
Right, let's do that.
So the first one was, like you said, got debunked, but his friend just came home from prison, and Nipsey wanted to take him to get some clothes before he saw his family. That was the story. That was one of the stories.
20 years.
Yes.
Right. Now there are some who are saying, well, Nipsey did that on the regular for people. So whether Nipsey knew him or not, you know, somebody said, yo, this is a good dude. Nipsey would do that. But we know that that's now debunked. But that's a story that we were fed to be like, okay, that would make some kind of sense.
Right. Especially with the stories of how he was as a person, right? So that'll make sense. Right.
If you're a good person and your heart is pure, and this is what you want to do, no problem.
Well, it kind of just fed to more of his legend.
Absolutely.
As well, yeah.
Your legend is what it is. I ain't heard nothing negative about Nipsey Hussle. I ain't heard nothing like, oh, that nigga wasn't really like that. You know how, you get a balance of shit. Oh, that nigga wasn't really no gangbanger, or I'm hearing what I'm hearing. Like, this is who he was. Right? So that's the story that was fed to us. They let him out. Some dude who shitty cuz was a snitch.
So I heard. So the next story I heard was because he was out there with a bunch of kids. Nipsey saw him, approached him, and said like, "Yo, I don't want anything to happen while you're around because of what the word is about you is." Right. So if that's not the case, come show me paperwork, and then you're good. Right. And then I heard another one that said like this is from the cowboy dude, who said he wanted him to listen to his music or wanted to help him with his music. Then he said something about him being a snitch or foreman. Then he said, come back with your paperwork. If everything's good, I'll help you out. Right. So that was... and that would give me no reason to fucking shoot you. Right. None of that, really. Right. Well, embarrassment of being called the snitch. Well, who was it a lot of people around? Or you see what I'm saying? So did I call you out on the record? Yes, did I call you out on social media? Or did I just say to your face, nigga, I know, something ain't right, nigga, I heard some things. That ain't something where, that's something me and you can resolve. Nigga, just keep that shit low, nigga. It ain't true. Don't spread that shit. There's a process with that, nigga. You don't just, unless he was out there saying, this nigga's a snitch. So that didn't resonate too well with me. What also struck me as just odd, I'm just talking out loud, was how 3 different entities were supposed to be released all within the same week. The guy who did 20 years, who wanted clothes, Eric Holder had just got out 2 days ago. Oh, from the mental facility, and his last tweet about having stronger enemies, or strong enemies is a blessing. Was supposed to be about a rival, a member who he sat down with, and they squashed their beef because, you know what I mean. So I forgot all about that. Yeah. So he had just got out. So the synchronicity of 3 different entities all getting out of prison at the same time struck me as odd. Right? And if you spend 20 years in the joint, I don't know who you are. So let's be clear with that. You come home after 20 years, nigga, you could be a federal agent. Right? Right? Eric Holder, they saying, I still ain't seen no paperwork that he is a snitch. I still ain't, who's got the proof? Who's got the receipts?
So that could be a narrative that had nothing to do with nothing, right?
Right.
If I told you a prominent gangbanger was going to sit down with the LAPD in basically a secret meeting, what would you call me?
What do you mean?
If I told you Nipsey Hussle was going to have a secret meeting,
You're an informant, no?
you a fucking informant.
Yeah.
So let's be clear when we start saying who's the informant and who possibly could. Nipsey Hussle was meeting with the LAPD. Was he not?
Yep.
So let's not gloss over that to act like it was something noble, because it could be, let's we having issues in our community, but if I just told you in a vacuum that a high profile gang member was secretly going to meet with the police, the head of the police, to have discussions, what would your initial reaction be? Really?
Right.
Because the LAPD is the fucking gangbangers. These niggas, come on, guys. Come on. You trying to tell me that the Bloods and Crips are not a government operation? You're goofy. You're fucking goofy. These are government operations. How you think they moving body parts across the country? And human trafficking and drugs. Who do you think, what faction of the government does that? But gangbangers. Mexican cartel. That's another reason Trump is in all of this trouble. You know what I mean? With those who are saying, nigga, you can't fuck up our money source because we use the Mexican cartels to not only move our drugs, sex trafficking, body parts, organs, everything's for sale in this country. Right? Everything is for sale. Elbows, ankles, necks, all kind of shit. Right? So if you are going to tell me that going to the source of the people, the number one enemy of a gangbanger is the police, besides the other Crips, besides these niggas, right? I got beef with you niggas, but we all got beef with the police.
Right.
So I don't want to create a saintly situation with Nipsey saying he was going as an ambassador. And if he had that kind of power, he's a dangerous man. And if he's a dangerous man, I plus C equals T. Steve Coakley. Intention plus capability equals the threat taught to us by our elders. What is Nipsey Hussle's intention? To unite all gangs and stop all violence throughout America. What is his capability? He building schools, high-tech places. This shit is popping. What is the threat from 1 to 10? This is 7. When that agent go and sit down in front of the authorities, so what's your assessment? This is a 7. Okay, well, what are we gonna do now? Are we gonna create the platform for him to do that? Or are we gonna put some things in place where that shit never happens? Because I thought it was strangely odd that the very next day, on April Fool's Day, maybe the fool was on Nipsey, that he thought he was going to sit down with the most powerful people in LA to discuss the stoppage of gangbanging, of drugs, of money, of hoes, of everything that America is built on. Red, white, and blue, right? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's illusions of grandeur. To think possibly in your heart, and it may have been honestly in his heart, and Rock Nation was gonna be there too. I don't know what kind of fucking connection that is. I just know that the Rock, Jay-Z's team was gonna be there as well. So all of that shit, it started sounding a little fucking weird.
Right.
And that these 3 entities, all with criminal records, all who have spent time behind bars, all who may have been given a new leash on life, I don't know, are all converging on Nipsey at the same time or around the same time. Now we do know they said a few days before he was doing a video and he kind of feared for his life. So I don't know what connection that was.
Oh, I didn't know.
With John Legend and somebody else, he was shooting a video for one of his songs and he needed to tighten up security. So what aspect of it is that? That's not being presented here.
Right.
Right? Grandma said Sam ran out the house in the morning. Right? And they saying this shit happened in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So that raised the red flag. And y'all might say, well, she's 85. Them African grandmothers, 85 is like 45. She looked like she had all her mental faculties to me. And then she also said Sam was there before Nipsey transitioned. She said he knew, you know what I mean, that Sam was there. And then I heard he called Sam. Right? Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to start adding. We're only talking about the things that we heard.
Right.
That we can, most of it can be debunked. Or because if I'm shot 5 times and then I get shot in the head, but I have the wherewithal to grab my phone and not call 911. All right, if I get shot, like, I'm not calling you, Malcolm. I'm not like, yo, Malcolm, I'm fucked up out here. They got me.
Yeah.
No, I'm calling 911 in hopes that they can get here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And Sam says, and these are Sam's words, he was pumping his chest or giving him mouth to mouth, which means that Sam, I didn't see no shots or pictures of Sam with blood on his body, looking distraught. Let's talk, right? Looking distraught. And then Cowboy said, well, he did the same thing. He said, I held him in my arms. Right? At least Jesse Jackson had the wherewithal to go get some of Dr. King's blood from the scene and smear it on his shirt before he got in front of the cameras and was like, yeah, he told me to take over the movement. That's what the nigga said. Right? So at least he had the wherewithal. Now let's talk about the crime scene. You seen the videos. You seen them Keystone cops pumping his chest. Right? You seen him move his legs. All that shit look weird. All right? Now, I'm not going to get into my conspiracy theory shit yet. We just warming up with this shit. Right? But there should have been blood everywhere. I mean, literally.
I mean, what if,
okay,
to play devil's advocate, what if there was internal bleeding?
5 times to the body?
It depends what kind of gun he got shot with.
Really? So the blood didn't leak out of his body? You know what? If the blood don't leak out of your body, you don't die.
No, that means you will die because you have internal injuries.
Yeah, but meaning you didn't lose any blood.
True.
I'm just trying to. If I don't lose no blood, I can just pretty much hold that.
No,
right?
no.
No, just hold that.
No.
Run to the hospital. And
No,
say,
that's not.
I've lost 0 blood.
That's not how.
You should just stitch me up.
No. If your organs are damaged, then that's how you die.
Okay, all right. Like if you get shot in the heart, of course, and kidneys,
Right.
liver blown out. But shouldn't there be some blood somewhere?
Well, I saw a video of him bleeding from his head.
Okay, yeah, that looked okay. That looked okay.
I'm just
When they put him on a gurney, did you see any blood
No.
anywhere?
Mm-mm.
Anywhere?
Mm-mm.
Okay. When they was pumping,
That was weird.
was it weird? That's
That was
all I'm
weird.
saying. I'm not saying
Yeah, that was weird.
I'm just saying that just look weird.
Yeah.
And if it didn't look weird to you, you were goofy. If you can look at them tapes and say there's nothing odd. I didn't see no IV bags. I didn't see no oxygen mask. The dude who was running was pumping and looked like he was a fucking crisis actor.
Yeah,
They all did. Look at the pants they had on.
And first, you're not supposed to pump somebody's chest on a bed.
Right, absolutely.
Or like a stretcher, or you're not.
You can ask any nurse about
Yeah.
that if we want to get all technical. And when you get a headshot, they usually air. You know.
Yeah. Didn't they drive him like?
And the police car was behind.
Yeah.
Did you see that shit?
Yeah.
The police car was behind the ambulance as it was leaving. I've never seen anything. Police is in front clearing the way. We got a high profile individual here. We getting him off to the hospital. All of that at minimum is weird. That's all I'm saying. All of that shit was just kind of weird. Right? Did you see the numbers of the fire trucks? All 66?
No, I didn't.
Okay, that's weird. The dude sitting with the Puig jersey on, 66. You know what I'm saying? Which is multiples of 33. All of this shit was just weird. You know what I mean? And like I said, if I'm giving my brother mouth to mouth and he's bleeding, I should have some blood. I didn't see no, and who wouldn't take that shot? Meaning, of all of the shots that's out, who wouldn't take that shot of me in distress, giving my son mouth to mouth, trying to, right? And then if Cowboy was doing it and you was doing it, that's a lot of fucking help out there for nobody to have no blood on them. I'm just using the words that they said, which now we have all these conflicting stories. Right? All we really need is the clear footage
from the store.
To answer all questions. We seen Eric Holder, or what appeared to be Eric Holder, showing up. We seen a dude pop out of a car, walk up and meet him, intersect with him to throw something away or whatever. We seen Cowboy go in the store. We seen the same dude get out of the white vehicle, go into. There's a lot of weird shit going on. That's all I'm saying. That just don't add up. Even when I'm going to my geometry levels, something is not right here. Something don't make sense. This story, and then I watched the funeral. Nobody looked sad to me at the funeral.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you saw sadness.
Well,
if I lost my son.
Yeah.
First, let's double back to the mother, who gave an interview, or before that. It was strange, to say the least. And I know people were caught in their emotions because she had just lost her son and she was saying some real deep shit or whatever we thought was deep. That struck me as strange.
Why?
It struck me as strange because of the level of calmness that she had 2 or 3 days after her son had just been brutally murdered in the street. This is not 6 months later. This is not after a time of reflection. This is in the midst. She said he didn't have a scar on his body.
That was weird too.
This was weird.
That was weird, yeah.
She said he smelled good. That was just weird stuff, and that you can conjure him and talk to him now, and all of these metaphysical conscious community trigger words, because that's what they were, right? And you can even tell she was uncomfortable with that because she must have just got in the so-called conscious community. Let's talk to me.
Well, first, when she said that he had no scars in his body, that was odd because he got shot in the head and he got kicked in the head.
Yeah.
The body still kind of like bruises,
dude,
when you're dead. Like, it doesn't
you get shot in your head is probably the size of a fucking balloon.
Right.
5 body shots, no scars. I mean, I don't know if she didn't mean that literally, or
it
that
might have been like
he looked beautiful to her. I don't know.
Yeah, it might have been.
But it struck me as odd. I posted it on my Facebook page and just put a little code in there for those who have the ability to understand. This is not right. This is not right. I'm sorry. For those who want to get offended, fuck you. I know what my soul and spirit is telling me. Something is not right with that. And then at the funeral, to start promoting veganism and domestic violence in the middle of your speech that you're giving about your son who just died, just struck me as odd.
That was odd.
It just was odd. You can say what you want, and then to pour libation, and obviously you have to read off the paper because you don't even understand the principles of the libation. I am not experimenting at my son's fucking funeral. I'm speaking to you from my heart about an individual I brought onto this planet who was a light being. I'm just sharing with you how I feel, and I'm trying to resonate with the people so that they understand. This is why I didn't do this video, because this stuff was fucking with my soul, right? I know what I know, all right? And I know what my spirit is telling me. This is not right. Something is just not adding up. And everybody who hit that stage, it just didn't feel like there was a great loss beyond the people in the crowd, beyond that energy. I'm not talking about them. because they were all a part of the show. I'm talking about the actual moving parts beyond the daughter who couldn't speak, and nobody else seemed to be traumatized. Nobody else seemed to be like there was a major loss. Go look at Little Kim when Biggie died. I don't need to go no further than that. Did you see Little C's? They was fucked up. Right? Like, this ain't a game. They was fucked up. Tupac's situation is a little different because we don't know what happened. He was cremated, or like, there was no closure, so to speak. You know what I mean? But when you have these, even the Minister Farrakhan's speech sounded a little empty to me.
For real.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I love the minister, and I know when his fiery speeches hit my belly, this seemed to be a little, I'm here. I don't know enough about this dude, so I didn't.
Called him Nipsey Hussle.
Yeah, Nipsey Hussle, which was a slip, but I think he was trying to connect Nipsey to Russell Westbrook doing the 2020. And I think he kind of misspoke in his thought process, or then he backed up and cleaned it up. Either or, the shit was beautiful. That little, shit was cool, but just I didn't feel Stevie Wonder songs. I didn't have a feeling of, God damn, man, we just lost because I didn't know him. You know what I mean? And I didn't feel connected to his plight other than appreciating his body of work. It's not what I'm talking about. You can appreciate somebody's work, but still don't feel that there's an ending to this. And, Laura London got up there, and, she did her thing. Sam got up there. None of them looked like they had a tear in their eye. To me. Now, if you saw something different.
Well, you saw the video of her getting to the hospital.
Did I? Oh, well, she was
screaming, like.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying. And again, playing devil's advocate, just for the human people.
Of course.
And that's going to be in the comments.
Of course.
It was 11 days removed.
I know people who have lost their son 11 years.
True.
I'm just going to keep it a buck with you. True. And they still ain't right.
True that.
Right? I know mothers who have not recovered to this day, especially when they lose a child tragically.
True that.
Right? So 11 days is like 60 seconds. I can't even wrap my head around, you know what I'm saying, what's going on in such a violent. I don't see none of the rolling 60s asking questions. Nobody's asking enough questions for me. This shit is about to be over.
Yeah.
Like, this shit is about to be moved on down the timeline.
Yeah.
Right? You see the murals go up, people taking pictures with the murals. And I was inspired. I see all of that. Yeah. All of that shit is about to be a thing of the past for such a high profile. Let's not even get into Darden.
First of all,
who's an actor as well.
So first of all, when they found out supposedly who killed him, right? He was missing for like 2 days, and I wanted to know how in the world he was missing for 2 days, and then two. When they finally got him, they let the getaway driver go.
These are all the questions. Because if you rob a bank, nigga, and I just happen to be out there, and you be like, all right, get in the car, let's go, and we go, I'm going to jail.
Right.
I'm going to jail until this shit gets figured out.
Yeah.
Until they go, wait a minute, we see Doc just came from work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And happened to see Malcolm, and Malcolm jumped in the car. Okay, Doc, you cleared. Other than that, I'm going to jail.
Yeah.
We still don't know her name.
Nope.
We don't have enough pictures of her. We have something that somebody's feeding us. That makes no sense in any criminal investigation. Right?
Yep.
That makes no... And he was arrested without incident. And he grew a lot of hair. Did you see those pictures?
I did see those pictures, yeah.
Okay, again, but... With social media, I don't know what to believe and what not to believe. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because this shit is, I told you, there's real, R-E-A-L, and there's R-E-E-L. And now this shit is merging into one. And I gave you the scenario. You could be in a movie theater and shots start ringing out. You don't know they're blanks. You don't know that's fake blood. And you come out of there and swear on your life you were a part of a goddamn terrorist attack. And the first people that hit the camera are the crisis actors. Who, oh, Nippy, as that one lady was calling them, not Nippy. You see what I'm saying? You could be involved with something that has now merged reality with some other shit, and you swear it was real. I know what I know. You know what I mean? So with that being said, I just don't understand, you know what I'm saying, how all of this converges and nobody is asking any questions. This case should be on the news every single day since it happened. We should be knowing the trial dates, who the leading investigators are, who the prosecutors are, what witnesses they're gathering, who's seeing what. Are they gathering witnesses?
Well, no. First of all, let's go back to Darden representing dude. That made no sense to me.
No sense at all.
I didn't know he was a public defender. If he's not,
but I heard my man Mutwaz on his Instagram, Reverend Nigga, I forget what it's. He said this nigga's an actor, and listed his credits. Like this nigga might be a part of a crisis acting piece too. So it's ISBN or IBNS or something. I'll look it up, you know, if I have a moment to understand. This just a lot of weird moving parts. And before you call me a conspiracy theorist, just debunk some of this shit for me, and I'm good. Tell me why they didn't arrest the getaway driver. Tell me where he was for 2 days. Tell me, you know what I mean? Show me the videotape. Just show me the tape, and I'm good.
I want to know like why that tape hasn't come out yet.
Why not? Everything else seemed to be coming out. Why not?
Yeah, you would think it was like there's a few cameras like in the plaza at least.
And I'm still not comfortable with what I saw in terms of the scene. That scene is supposed to be taped off. Then there were vehicles that were moved, vehicles that showed up, trucks. A lot. Listen, nothing is supposed to move in or out of a crime scene.
Yeah.
So you saw the white vehicle when the shooting started, and then when everything was taped off, the white vehicle was gone. Another vehicle was gone. His truck showed up. It was a lot of strange moving parts here that just needs to be answered. And if they're answered to my satisfactory, which is common sense, I'm good. But I watched the family's body, you know what I'm saying, energy. Nobody seemed to be really in enough pain for me. I know people of lesser so-called value, and the family's pain is for their loved ones.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now, I don't know if that's an African thing or whatever, or, you know, we don't show grievance. I don't know, so I don't want to over-speculate. But mama's energy, mama, nah, something ain't right.
So, talk to me about your shirt.
Oh, reactivists. I wore this one because what we have become are reactivists to a whole bunch of shit. You know what I'm saying? We have exalted. This man has become the Christ of our time.
Well, Jermaine Dupri literally said that.
Yeah, this nigga is the reborn Christ.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Once we start talking like that, you're goofy. You need to get your head checked. You know what I mean? And that doesn't mean he wasn't doing great works. Gotta be clear. And then there are those talking, this is a paradigm shift. And all paradigm shifts are not spiritual. The fucking iPhone was a paradigm shift. Right? How the fuck they get all them songs in there? Right? Which changed your consciousness about technology. And so we have to be clear. Anytime the masses is going like that about something, you need to just be aware that maybe you are a part of the problem. Maybe you one of the goofies. You used to be a Sufi, but now you just a goofy now.
Yeah.
So I'm always very in tune with those who, you know what I'm saying, now are on the front line holding up the Nipsey banner and the Nipsey flags, and oh my God, Nipsey. Come Come on.
And the way people, it feels like they're trying to like compete with how
Who can be more Nipsey?
Yeah, or who could commemorate him more as we.
Who can commemorate Nipsey more?
A game that people ain't getting chains with
tattoos and chains.
They getting their cars painted.
And what happens is when this society crumbles, right, and they dig through the rubbish, and they find this nigga's picture everywhere. He must have been the Christ, right? And that may be rituals being done on a whole nother level to fake the coming of the Messiah. You see what I'm saying? Because, you know, these Masons, they got a whole nother fucking game plan. These Illuminati niggas got a whole other game plan going, right? So all of these things could be done to fake the return of the Messiah so that now we can move into the next phase of whatever we're going to do to fuck the people up. This shit is getting real easy, and people are very slow. This social media has actually, the more information we have, the dumber we have become.
That's a fact.
Right? So do not be fooled thinking, oh, the information is available, we must be advanced. No, people study less. People have become YouTube scholars. Right?
Yeah.
So let's be clear that there's something else going on here that needs to be dealt with. So we'll end part 2 there, and then let's take it to another level. Let's see what else we got in there.
All right.
All right, shoot some shit.
Peace.
Peace.